after a lot of rain.
Yeah.
So they're hard packed. That shot, presumably the club head could well have bounced and you would have got an awful shot.
Exactly.
Is that not right? Or
Exactly,
is that right?
because when our bunkers are, if you get a really compact bunker, you'd be lucky if you'd made a divot that's that long.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how hard it is. So therefore, if the ball's there, you've got to hit probably just under an inch behind the ball. And there is no margin for error, because if you hit clean, it obviously goes a bit sharper. And if you hit 2 inches behind, the club's already coming out of the sand and it goes clean again. And you can say, well, what have I got to do differently for that shot? You haven't got to do anything differently, you've got to do it better. That's the only answer, isn't it? You've got to hit in exactly the right place. Okay? So then we can do, so what we'll do is, when I've talked about a few more things, we'll get you to try that as an opening test and just see how close can you get to hitting the line time after time. And if, to be honest, if you get within 1 or 2 inches of the line every time, then you could probably aim to hit 2 inches behind the ball, and 6, 7, 8 times out of 10 it's going to come out not too bad. But to get it to actually fly high and land soft, you've got to be able to hit that inch, inch and a half behind the ball, which is really quite accurate ball striking, isn't it? But having said that, we all hit, if you can hit a solid hit shot, then you've got to hit exactly on the back of the ball, haven't you? You know, and anything early is going to be a fat shot or scooping it, and it's a thin one. So it's not that different in some ways. I think a lot of it is that what some people do is, instead of setting up to the exact point in the sand that they intend to try and strike, they'll sort of set up to the ball, but because they know they've got to hit the sand, they sort of just dip in early. But there's no exact precision about where they're going to try and hit. They just dip in early. Do you see what I mean? So I want you to really start to focus on the exact spot, and then after you've finished the swing, look back and ask yourself exactly where you did finish. Now, talked about timing earlier on. If we were going to alter where the divot started in relation to that line, if I was to use my arms more than my legs and really throw down into the sand, see there, I've entered way back here early, and all I've really done there is I've hit down into the sand with my hands and arms. If I was to now go through too much with my legs and work my legs really hard, now look, I've started over here. So again, just the combination of the way everything works together with good timing, legs, chest, arms, all unwinding together, helps you to hit in a more central position. It's a more connected swing. But again, you can see there as I come through, look again how this is starting to leave the ground a little bit, so that my chest and arms and legs can all work together more. Okay? Now I've got one thing to show you here, which is where I'm going to show you this as a specific fault, because I see so many people get into this problem. Okay? Where do you aim when you play your bunker shots? To the left of the pin. Anybody else the same or different to that?
I actually would aim to the right of the ball screen.
Something to do with being left-handed? Or with your...
Yeah. Yeah. Right, there you go. Here's an absolute classic. Right, everybody come round this side and have a look at the position Bill's in here, okay? So what he's done, he said he's aiming in an open position, being a left-hander. He's going to the pin over there, so he's definitely aiming to the right. But in the back of his mind, he knows that the target is over there, okay? So he's set up with a ball here. Now, if I do a right angle to where he's aiming, look where his ball position is. It's opposite his back foot. Now, the reason so many people do that is because the further back you put the ball position, you can now feel like you're facing the target more. You see? So what you actually end up doing is swinging on an in to out path in relation to your body line. And an in to out path really comes in very shallow here. Now it's hard to say whether you're going to hit the sand here or miss it altogether. Whereas a swing that's going down your body line is much steeper, and it's easier to determine where you're going to strike the sand, isn't it? So the first thing is, it gets confusing because people start thinking, right, I've aimed over here, but I know the target and my club face are aiming over there, and they start to swing more towards the club face and the target. And what you always have to do is swing down your body line, okay? most people, the right-handed people, what do you have a specific reason why you aim to the left? Okay,
cutting across it, aren't you?
yeah, I mean the main reason would be that what we tend, if we want this high soft landing shot, we open up the club face, then grip it. Okay, so if we've opened it up, that's made the loft increase to be able to project it higher instead of forward, and it's also made this bounce of the club a bigger angle of bounce, which means it's going to bounce off the sand more to give us that thin slither of sand. But if I was to now, because I've opened it up and then gripped it to create that increased loft and increased bounce, if I now swing at the target, the club ball's going to go over to the right because the club face is open in my hands. So the only reason for aiming left is to compensate for the fact that the club face is open. So, but the key thing, this is where then everybody gets into problems, because they then, instead of just keeping the ball position in the natural position for your swing, where when you're transferring your weight through, the ball position is always going to be between centre and just left of centre, because that's where you naturally hit the ground. So, in relation to my body alignment, that's where the ball position's got to be, because I'm going to swing down my body line. But everybody starts thinking the target's over there, so without realising, they drop the ball back here, and now the forearms and the upper body are going in towards the target, and you can see it creates this very flat, shallow swing, doesn't it? Okay, so we're just going to keep that ball position very much more forward in relation to our body line, and look how I just ignore the open club face and swing down my body line, but the ball should always fly out high and to the right of the line you're swinging, because the club face is open in relation to your body. And that in itself, being a slightly steeper swing than the one we've described, is going to make it easier if you've been hitting before the line, which is what most people do.